Hello, my friends, and welcome back. We got some information on how badly Russia is hurt by the economic sanctions imposed by some countries from this planet. And the unfortunate thing is the people or the countries, not the countries, the individuals who decided to place sanctions and embargoes on Russia's oil supplies and sales overseas, their exports, oil and gas. These guys are not doing very well, very good. You know what I mean? It's just that they are doing maybe worse than the Russians. So I posted yesterday some videos regarding the Russian oil profits and how they jumped 50% in their output since the start of this Ukrainian saga. And here we have an article from Reuters and says that Russia jumps to fourth position as oil supplier to India. Tanker data. So India is buying from Russia because Russia has a lot of oil ready to be sold since the other guys don't want to buy it. They want to buy more expensive from other areas or not buy at all. So this is from Reuters from May 17th. So Russia jumps to fourth position as oil supplier to India. So it became the fourth largest oil supplier to India in April, with volumes set to rise further in coming months as low prices spur demand for the world's number three oil consumer and importer. So if India is the third consumer and importer, Russia has a great market over there, especially if they're going to be able again to compete with everybody else. And I hope they will not be taken out like they were taken out from Europe, you know, where the other guys came in by pushing out competition for reasons of virtue signaling. Nevertheless, what do I know, right? Russia's share in India's oil purchase rose to a record 6%, about 277,000 barrels per day in April, up from about 60,000 barrels a day in March. So, well, to a record of 6%. Doesn't make sense here, but 277,000 barrels per day in April, up from about 66,000 in March, when it was in 10th position. So I'm assuming it was for the whole month, according to the data, which was supplied by trade sources. Indian Oil Corporation, a country's top refiner, bought its first ever Russian Arco oil cargo last month. Western sanctions against Russia for its invasion of Ukraine has opened a rare arbitrage flow, prompting Indian refineries to increase buying of cheaper Russian oil, shunned by many Western countries and companies. Yeah, you shoot yourself in the foot. We take advantage. We care for our people more than your little whatever you have there. And I'm quoting, prices of Russian Urals crude fell sharply due to the sanctions against Russia, while Kazakhstan CPB blend crude came under pressure as it is loaded from a Russian port, said an analyst. Yes, with Refinitiv. Indians had bought stranded Russian oil, while some European buyers had bought higher volumes of African and US oil, he said. Yeah. The share of African oil in India's overall oil imports declined to about 6% in April from 14.5% in March, while that of US almost halved to 3%. So yeah, now we have more competition and they pick the cheapest price and the closest distance. Makes economic, financial sense. So what the US must be pushing now the Russians out so they can be able to compete with them on the Indian market. Grades from Azerbaijan, Russia and Kazakhstan together accounted for about 11% of India's imported oil in April, compared with about 3% in March. The share of Middle Eastern oil rose to 71% from 68%. So yeah, they're closer and they take advantage. India's oil imports from Russia are set to rise further to to about 487 barrels per day in May, since refineries have ramped up purchases from Russia. Preliminary data from Refinitiv Flow show. Last month, Iraq is still producing oil. I thought it comes straight here to the United States. Last month, Iraq continued to the top oil supplier to India, probably continued to be the top oil supplier to India, followed by Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. In April, Indian refineries shipped in 4.7 million barrels per day of oil, up 6.9% from the previous month and about 11.6% higher than a year earlier. Phew. When the second COVID wave hit local oil demand. India's oil imports in April were high as refineries raised runs to meet local demand and gain for robust refining margins. Okay, well, what do you want? And then it says that this guy says, this analyst, his name is Hack, not Hack. Also, the companies got Russian grades at very tempting rates, and they had to lift committed volumes under term contract with Middle Eastern producers. Yeah, the higher imports from Russia dragged down OPEC's share of foreign supplies to India in April. OPEC's share of India's oil imports dropped to record low. Yeah, competition, don't we like that? Don't we like capitalism anymore? Oh, when we're losing we don't like it, only when we're winning. Yeah, that's typical, right, of people who are very cunning. Well, what's gonna happen, India? You're gonna have a Imran Khan situation over there with Modi? We'll find out. This can't continue like that because it seems like the Russians still find markets. And when I hear this, a few politicians and experts from the Western countries stating that we try to isolate, Russia is isolated. Are they crazy? Have they gotten a globe or a map, world map, to look how big Russia is and how many countries are over there and how much the resources are needed and who has it? How can you isolate such a situation? They think that they are the center of the universe, really. If they think that if there are 17 countries or 20 countries, 30 countries, not isolating, not really talking to them, because they still do business, they think that that's the whole world. The international community is formed out of what? 30 countries out of 193 or 194, how many are right now? I don't know, because they keep increasing. It seems like they will be increasing now in eastern part of Ukraine, but who's going to recognize them? A few who have interest. Well, thank you very much for being with me again today. It seems like India is buying and taking advantage for its own people. That's good. That's their leaders' primary task. Your population, that's why you're over there, not neighbors' population. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.